morning. Thank you all for coming today. I know I want to welcome Mayor Ginger Nelson to Lubbock. She was coming down here this morning to talk at a class at Lubbock Christian, and we decided it'd be a great day for her to spend some time in Lubbock. I've had a chance to go to Amarillo a couple times since Mayor Nelson was elected, and although she comes here a lot for Red Raider type things, I guess this is the first official thing, other than a mayor's meeting that we did.
Yeah.
But it's our first time for the two of us to get a chance to spend a day together. And so, first of all, just how much I appreciate the relationship between Amarillo and Lubbock. I mean, we're neighbors. We have many, many, many things in common. There's certainly going to be times that we're going to compete and we may not even agree on things, but for the most part, I think we're stronger when we stand together, and I appreciate Ginger's attitude about that and the people of Amarillo. I mean, I think a great example is the Texas Tech Vet School and the efforts that Amarillo's led the way, but all of West Texas is standing strong there, whether it be the Lubbock Chamber, whether it be the mayors from Abilene, San Angelo, Midland, Odessa, Big Spring, Lubbock, and Amarillo. We all think it's very important. Today we're going to focus a little bit more on jobs and workforce development. We're going to do a tour here with Kimberly Graham at the Innovation Hub, and just there's a lot of great things going on here with entrepreneurship and trying to help nurture and foster good ideas. We'll spend some time this afternoon over at South Plains College on Avenue Q at their new technical center that they opened about 18 months ago. It's far exceeded their expectations. In fact, they have a waiting list of kids that are trying to get in there to learn trades, and whether it be culinary or welding. It's a really cool center. And, not to say that we're doing something in Lubbock that they're not doing in Amarillo, but I've learned that when we share ideas, we often, I always pick up something that someone's doing differently or has approached it maybe a better way. So I think that's, jobs are important. I guess that's the bottom line. When you look at in our jobs, our roles as elected leaders of our community, we spend a lot of time focused on jobs. It's the jobs we have today. It's the jobs of the future. In Lubbock, we have 50,000 college students. And a big part of what I wake up in the morning and go to bed at night thinking about is how we create an environment where business can thrive in our community so they can continue to invest in our community. Most importantly, the ones that are already here, but also those that might want to come here. And when they do that, they create jobs, and jobs mean people can buy cars, they can buy groceries, they can buy clothes, they have families, they can go on vacations, they live the American dream, and I think that's a big part of our role. And so I'll be quiet now, Ginger, and let you talk. I start to sound like somebody else I know that just talks and talks. So.
I'm so honored to be in Lubbock. I'm really honored to be here with my friend, Mayor Pope. I was in office just a matter of days when I got a friendly phone call from him and began to pick his brain immediately about how to do this job and how to do it better for not just my city, but for our region as a whole. And so I'm grateful for the leadership that Dan brings. I think you're very lucky to have him. He's a visionary thinker. He's a great communicator, and he's a fabulous ambassador for Lubbock as he works in the West Texas Mayor's Coalition, which he really was the idea man behind getting us all together to do that, and that's been a good impact. Or whether we're in Austin together working on the Texas Tech Vet School and other issues that affect cities our size, Dan is a great representative for the city of Lubbock, and I'm always proud to walk into a meeting with him or to claim him as a regional partner. So I'm glad to be here in Lubbock today. Lubbock's my birth city. I was born here, so I feel like in some ways I am a Lubbock girl. And spent several years here going to college, so Lubbock's my city too. It's not just yours. Yes, right. But I'm really pleased to be here today focusing and being intentional on workforce development. It is a challenge for every city in the nation right now, but I'm a believer that when we put our heads together, we can solve problems easier. And that's exactly what Dan was saying. It's not that either one of us feel like our cities have it figured out or that one city's doing it better than the other. But when we collaborate, ideas get shared and taxpayer dollars can go further. And I think that's a great thing for us to be doing more of. So I made the time to intentionally, we've been talking about intentionally doing a visit for the purpose of studying workforce development and how each one of our cities is focusing on that. It's so important because we recognize mid-sized cities, rural Texas cities often have to do things for themselves.
Right.
And so we can't sit back and wait for someone to serve our workforce, solve our workforce problems. We both have very low unemployment, which means it's a great place to live and families see the values of living in Amarillo and Lubbock. But it can make it challenging for our businesses to grow because they don't have the people to work the jobs that they're trying to expand into. So we need to solve that problem, and it involves looking 20 and 30 years down the road.
That's right.
Some through our college, especially our community college opportunities. But what we really have to have a vision for is how we keep our own kids here to be our future business owners, to be our future workforce. And that's wrapped up in economic development, quality of life services, and having a vision for where we want our communities to be 20 or 30 years from now. So I can't wait to do the tours. Seen great things already. I was at Lubbock Christian this morning, very impressed with the work that they're doing there, investing in their future business leaders. And I'm really looking forward to this Innovation Hub tour.
Perfect. So what's kind of the timeline today? You know, the events y'all are doing today?
Well, we're going to tour here. We both have speaking engagements at different places, sort of typical mayor kind of deal. I'm talking to a civic club. Mayor Nelson's talking to at the Tech Law School where she's a grad. They invited her to come over there today. And then we're going to South Plains College this afternoon out on their technical center on Avenue Q. And then we're going to spend some time together downtown. She's going to get a real quick tour of Citizens Tower. I want to show that off a bit. And then we'll put her back on the road so she can go back to the Golden Spread.
Yeah, I mean, Dan and I talk a lot. We don't talk quite daily, but we are in frequent conversation about issues happening in Austin. He's definitely a sounding board for me as far as, hey, have you had this issue? What have y'all done? How do you handle it? So it is a fantastic resource for us because we recognize, just like Dan said, when we stand together, we stand stronger. The truth is that rural Texas needs to be having more of an influence and an impact, not just in our state, but across the nation. And so this is what that looks like when leadership partners together, invests in relationship and solving problems together. That builds our influence and that builds our impact.
So for you coming to Lubbock today, what are you kind of hoping to get out of today?
I'm hoping to share ideas about what Lubbock is doing to develop their workforce. In some ways, Lubbock is ahead of Amarillo because they have such fantastic educational opportunities inside the city limits. Amarillo just opened a WT campus downtown, so we will have a 4-year business school in our city limits for the first time ever. So that's great for us, but just coming down here, we're looking at doing an innovation center as well. We don't have one yet, Lubbock has one. So I want to see what it looks like. I want to talk to Kim, you know, the challenges that they had in getting it started and keeping it open, the benefits from Mayor Pope's point of view to the business community of having that here. So a lot of it is information exchange and getting to meet people that are actually doing this work here in Lubbock and seeing how we can apply that in Amarillo.
You mentioned the West Texas Mayor's Coalition. What's next for that?
Nothing's set right now. We I think during the legislative session, we've sort of put our efforts, at least out here, on hold. We're active, I think, supporting our own legislative agendas in Austin. I think most all of us, I know what's on the top of their list, and it's close to the very top of our list is the vet school. We think that's a big win. But we have other items on our legislative agenda. And then we've also been part of the discussions around property tax reform, which we both I'm not going to speak for Ginger, but we both think nobody wants to pay more property tax, but so we want to reform that, but at the same time we've been elected to do a job, and our city charter makes it real clear public safety is job one. And so we want to make sure we can do our job while at the same time be in this world of property tax reform. The good news about it is that I think West Texas is looked to for common sense and for good conservative leaders. And I think we both fit that bucket. And, you know, our state's changing, sort of changing around us. And we find ourselves in a spot because of Chairman Ford Price's position and Chairman Dustin Burrows' position. Their leadership, we're their mayors. And so we get a chance to talk to them and they bounce ideas off of us, and we do the same with them. And so we've probably been a little more involved in this session, working closely with our delegations, not just those two, certainly the full delegations, but that's where we are with the West Texas mayors right now.
And you also mentioned downtown and touring Citizens Tower. I know there's a lot of downtown redevelopment happening in Amarillo. You mentioned the WT Center. Is that something y'all share ideas on as well? Because
Yes.
Cities have that going right now.
Yeah. And Dan's been intentional about coming to tour some of the projects that we have happening in downtown Amarillo. So, you know, any knowledge that we can share that creates shortcuts or creates efficiencies, shortens timelines, because we're all impatient about seeing progress happen. That's the benefit of the relationship. And definitely we're sister cities. We want to see Lubbock succeed, and Lubbock wants to see Amarillo succeed. It helps the entire region. And you know, one of our superpowers that we don't recognize, because you sometimes don't know what you have until you go somewhere else and realize other people don't have it. We have a superpower in that we think regionally here in the High Plains in West Texas. And a lot of communities don't think that way. They're very mine, boundary centric. And we don't think that way as a region. So we need to empower ourselves to use the influence that we have for a bigger impact. Think of ourselves as the West Texas region, and we'll go further.
It's critical. I mean, there's only 15% of Texans, or even a little less than that, live west of I-35. It's a big, vast area with rich in resources. But we have to remind the rest of Texas that we exist and that they count on us for energy, for oil and gas, for fiber. In our part of the world, it's cotton, but if you go a little further south, it's the wool and the mohair business. And then certainly as we go further up into the panhandle, it's beef and other parts of ag that we don't get mentioned there. But that's critical to Texas. That's a big part of who we are as a state. And it's important for us to stand together and remind the rest of the state. You know, y'all have heard me say, but when my buddy gets in his truck in Austin wearing his jeans and his favorite cotton dress shirt and drives downtown to eat a steak at his favorite restaurant, he needs to turn west and thank the good people of West Texas, because without us, that's not happening.
So just kind of with the vet school, you mentioned it earlier, what is the most recent update on that?
Sure. Texas needs another vet school. The need and the facts make it very clear that there's a need for rural veterinarians. Only 25% of the veterinarians being licensed in Texas come from our one vet school. So we need 2 vet schools in order to increase those educational opportunities and to meet the need that we have for our ag industry, for those food industry businesses that are so important to the economy in West Texas and important to the food supply, really not just for our state or our nation, but for the whole world. So the need is very clear, and we're just working diligently through that process of making sure that people in the legislature understand the facts behind that need. And I'm confident that with those facts, we'll have the right outcome, and we will soon have a second vet school in the state of Texas.
So how is it being received in Austin?
The job in Austin is for them to receive the facts and to make the best decision for the citizens of Texas. So because I just told you that 75% of people who get their license, their veterinary license in Texas, 75% of those students have to go out of state and pay out of state tuition. So Texas has a problem with the shortage of veterinarians that we're not solving. We're not offering that educational opportunity to our own students. So they're very interested in solving this problem inside the boundary of the state of Texas. That's who we are. We're Texans. We solve our own problems. So I think we're finding legislators, number one, want to know what the facts are, and the facts support that that there is a need for a second school. And they're very interested in higher education opportunities and making sure that Texas students have the opportunities they need to succeed in Texas and stay in Texas. It's right back to what I was just talking about, why we do workforce development.
That's right, exactly.
It's because we must grow our own crop of the next level business owners, the next level workforce. That's what's going to keep rural Texas thriving and surviving, is we take care of ourselves. The same thing is true about broader Texas. If we, I know of students who have gone to Colorado or Oklahoma or California to go to vet school, then they stay. And so we, as Texans, have invested 18 years of education and upbringing with Texas values, and it moved to California, and it's going to start a business, employ people, volunteer in PTAs, and raise kids out of state. So it's all about having a long-term view on what our investment is, not just in a particular industry, which this does support, but in ourselves, in the state of Texas, in who we want to be 30, 40, 50 years from now.
Yeah.